All right, good evening. Welcome to the May edition of the McCandless Environmental Advisory Committee. I'd like to call the meeting to order. And first up, approval of the minutes. Does anybody have any questions, comments, corrections, anything to add to the minutes? Nope, all good. Do we have a motion to approve?
A motion.
Right, we have a all right, all in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
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 All right. Minutes are approved. Thank you. All right, project updates and discussion items. First thing up, Dave.
All right. The litter event is in the books. We scheduled for April 15th and April 22nd. April 15th, beautiful day. We had 46 volunteers. That's the most we've had since 2021 in 2 years, so that was good. We did have about 20 that signed up that were no-shows, so that really hurts. And we had about 6 that did not sign up that showed up. So that makes the doing assignments a little bit crazy, but we managed to get through all that. Sort of focused on McKnight, Babcock, Duncan, Perry Highway, Wildwood, Blazer. Jeff and his crew did what we call the EAC interchange, McKnight and Ingomar. So that we're all kind of responsible for that. So thanks for doing that. That was April 15th. I was over there Sunday, picked up some things, got 2 more bags. So what's that, 3 weeks?
Yeah.
2 bags full in 3 weeks. So
Oh, is that right?
yeah.
Oh, jeez.
And I just came by and there's a couple more things there that
But you don't want a dirty car.
What's that?
You don't want a dirty car. You just pitch it out.
Yeah, that's right. Also thanks go out to Cub Scout Pack 334. They cleaned up Potter Park. I think it was the 23rd, Sunday the 23rd, not the 22nd, but the 23rd. But anyway, they did a great job there. Our second event was April 22nd. That was canceled. It was really wet that morning, Saturday morning, and then we tried for April 29th, and the forecast was also bad for that day. So we decided to cancel that too. On the negative side, I was hoping we would get to Highland Ave. We've never done Highland Ave. I did get that upper portion of Highland by Valley Road. There's a drainage ditch there that comes down Valley and then crosses over Harmony. There was a bunch of junk in there. And then between Brant School Road and Harmony Road, we got all that cleaned out. So we did a small section of Highland, but not the whole thing. I've been out a couple times since then. Cumberland, Old Perry Highway, McKnight from Arcadia North, about 30 more bags of stuff. So just trying to catch up on some of the areas. We have 2 bottles of tick spray. If anyone wants them or wants to take custody of them.
Until the next event.
I'll hold on to them.
Maybe Jack, I don't know.
Yeah, we're going to be doing stuff in Wall Park, so that's
Okay.
probably good to
Yeah.
have that.
Okay,
Yeah.
they're yours.
When you put this stuff on your bench, it stays on for like 3 or 4 washings. You don't have to use it every time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that was so that's sounds like a positive thing. But then one guy that showed up said, well, if you put this on your pants, it stays for about 3 or 4 washings. So, he said, his what he's implying,
Nation?
yeah, the implication, thank you, was that we had the wrong stuff. Because, for people that were coming in, that wanted just, hey, they wanted off, that type of thing, as opposed to what hunters and, if somebody would have said, I'd grab that in a second, because that's exactly what you really need if you want to stay on your clothes. So that's a note.
People have different perspectives.
Yes, definitely. That's exactly right.
I think that's about it. That's good enough. For here, we're doing a few things offline with Jack on some of the tasks that we put together that are needed to carry this whole thing out. I think it's becoming just too much for this little group of volunteers to do, and the town really needs to step up and take over this event or play a major part in it. So we're kind of discussing that with Jack, and but we're still on the schedule for October. We'll be doing 2 dates in October for sure. So and if anyone wants to go out between now and October, we can certainly give you areas to do, or your neighborhood, or places that you drive by. The other day I was out, and Mrs. Ruffalo,
Yes,
I think she's
a gold teacher.
she's connected with the schools, I think. So she's a neighbor of yours, I think. Yeah, she was out with I think her son, but I'm not sure. He was down in Pine Creek doing his thing, and I stopped to talk to her, and she was there on the 15th. So there are other people, but yeah, she was doing the Bottom of Powers and Blazer and that kind of area over there. So
She also did some of the sewer decals as
oh,
well.
We have it on Power Struck.
oh, okay.
I've seen it.
You've seen it. Okay, I think that's it, unless there's any questions, comments. Yes.
Three things.
Yes.
The use of the DPW building for meeting.
Oh, yeah.
How do you think that's where we should be going forward?
Yes, I think I think it worked out.
I think it worked great.
Very well. We were over, instead of this room, instead of Devlin Park, is that what's Devlin Park? We were over where the big garage doors are, over at the DPW building. Lots of room, set up refreshments, everything. I think it worked out well. Plus the police are right there, and the DPW guys are right there. So they don't have to, open this building or anything like that. So I think that worked out well, and we'll probably continue there if
I think that's a great idea. And then the other thing, what you just talked about with Jack, just like any good business, I mean, that's succession plan. We have no succession plan for this. I mentioned this before.
Yeah.
And there's no enthusiasm for anybody to even join our small group. And that enthusiasm, ebbs and flows as the days go on. So I think this thing is on weak footings. If Dave ever, again, and I don't mean to put words in your mouth, but in case you ever bail, we don't have a plan.
Or get totally burned out.
Exactly right. Because you put so much in this, you're 90%, you take 90% of the heavy lifting on this thing.
Did you talk to activities committee?
Yeah, they were involved, but just in terms of refreshments, food, drink, that kind of thing that they provided this time, which was Nicole Farnan did a great job on the 15th. That was a big load off of us to do all of that planning. She was looking for donations. We've done some of that before. That's a lot of legwork that we didn't have to do. So that worked out well, but I don't think they've ever been out, have the experience of picking up the litter and know what all that's involved. So
but it still has a potential to be a good partnership if we can't get anything else. I'm sure the labor could be divvied up a little bit, but just in case you know, any of the requests. And with Jack fall through.
Right. Well, what we've got our eye on is the Parks and Recreation Coordinator. That's I'm not sure if any names have been identified or there's been interviews yet or anything, but it's a, you know, an open position that the town has. So hoping that might fall onto that person in terms of some responsibility for it. More?
No, we already touched on the third one, and the third one was the Activities Committee, and if you thought that was,
Okay,
you know,
yes.
that was good value for us.
Right, for
Okay.
sure. Yeah,
Okay, good.
definitely,
Yeah,
definitely.
the more like the coordinator that you're talking about, this committee and the activities committee and stuff, you get some institutional memory so that it's not dependent on just you.
Right, right.
100%. Absolutely. Yeah, this is no good business runs without a good succession plan. We don't have that right now.
I call it institutional memory.
That perfect.
But that means we need to get what's in Dave's brain sort of put together in a written plan.
And you know, you put a lot of stuff on paper.
Yeah, we do, Don. I was thinking of you when I was putting this together, and the four of us had input into it. There's actually about 20 steps that need to happen for to go from okay, let's pick a date to actually carrying the whole thing out. So we do have that on paper now. So that's
Excellent.
That's a good start.
Excellent.
Excellent. Yeah.
I hope one of those steps is I'm sorry, Matt.
No, go ahead, Don.
Yeah,
Dave, did you include in there the step of, you know, each time we have an event, we have to submit something to Miss Matt, help me out. What Joellen? What's her last name? Yes, Miss Lombardi's group that we have to send an email to her for each litter event. Like, did you include that in the?
Yep, for sure.
Excellent.
For sure. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Not just her group, the Interact Club, but I think.
Oh yes, the Key Club folks as
Club,
well.
National Honor Society.
Perfect.
Talked to Chris, I think she mentioned she might know of other groups that have service requirements or something. So anyway, that's
because I know it took us forever to even find Miss Lombardi's name as connected with, you know, with a group that was able to help us. It just, you know, finding the right groups and the right, what do you call those, overseers, the teachers that oversee those, what are they called?
Advisors.
Thank you. Yeah, that was, it took us some time, so.
Right.
Yeah.
And they all got their own projects and things going on, and the kids get pulled in 9 different directions. So, I mean, we're just the 10th direction that we're trying to pull them in, I guess.
Yeah, good stuff. I'm glad you got that. Those steps onto paper. That sounds like good stuff.
Yeah.
You were hitting the Adopt a Highway pretty hard.
Yes.
You and Lynn and different people. I mean, and we certainly talked to Representative Venkat and Senator Williams about that. But did we ever get any buy-in at all from Adopt a Highway you know, prior to that date, after that date? I know that there's still stuff sitting on Babcock, Cumberland, you know, at Passive and across the river.
Yeah, we tried to make contact. One of the Adopt a Highway groups is the Student Government Association at La Roche. Had some back and forth with them. We've dealt with them in prior years, also had some back and forth with them. They're responsible for an area of Babcock Boulevard. They said they were going to do it, and it doesn't look like it was done. No. So same thing with Coldwell Banker. They have some areas. We tried to reach out to them, and they didn't do their part either. So that's just very typical. I don't know if the representatives, you know, can get involved. I have my own opinions about the Adopt a Highway program. I think it's a joke.
It's an advertise, it's a free advertisement.
Yeah, it doesn't really work at all, so.
The people that initially did it might have had a lot of enthusiasm, but they
Right.
don't have that institutional memory, they're gone.
Right. Somebody who's gung ho about picking up litter, you know, signs up for the program and then, plus sometimes you go out there and, you know, hey, this is a lot different than I thought it was. It's not a walk in the park. It's, you know, jumping over guardrails and bending over and picking up gross stuff and that kind of thing. So
Yeah, it's not glamorous at all.
yeah, that's for sure.
Kind of trashy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's you know, safety concerns too. We have fortunate to have the police with us, but you know, these other groups, they don't unless they make their own connection to the local police department. So Matt, anything? I think you had your hand up or
Yeah, just a quick thing. I don't know if folks saw this or not. There was an article on Pittsburgh Magazine's website today about litter in the city of Pittsburgh. They mentioned a group that organizes cleanups there called Allegheny Cleanways. Have we ever talked to them at all? I'd never heard of them before, but I wondered if it was something that we could partner with them. They're a nonprofit, I guess, that does cleanups and stuff like that.
I've heard of them. I sort of thought that they were more, and I saw the email that had the link to that article. I just didn't have time to open it this morning, but I thought they were doing more like banks of the rivers and that kind of thing, or lots, you know, things that you're more likely to see in the city, I guess, but I don't know.
They may very well be. Like I said, I don't really know anything about them. I just saw the mention and I thought, well, if we're looking for support, or if there was any way that, you know, they could help out, get some more people out our way or something like that, that'd be great. But I don't have any idea. Like I said, I just literally saw the name and just wanted to bring it up.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Our
All right.
20-minute lesson on litter is
No, thanks.
every month.
Thank you, Dave, as always. I'm sorry mine got canceled twice.
Yes.
So, like I said, I reached out and got a location for me. Give it to me and I'll get it done at least sometime between now and October.
Okay.
Hopefully sooner than later. Next up, sustainability update, Jeff?
Yeah,
Anything?
so just to sort of remind everybody, we are holding on to our gold status. The PA Sustainability has let us hold on to our gold status until December 8th of this year. I think it's the 8th. And we are going through 12 pods to first, you know, my first goal is to find out where we are without any additional effort. Just where are we based on where this municipality is right now. So we are through 3 pretty much. We are working on 4. Sean and I are to meet next Monday to hopefully finish 4 and then move on to 5. You know, it gets a little bit harder as it goes on. So you know, it's a tough slog to December. So hopefully by December we'll have touched all those 12 pods, and we'll say, okay, where we are right now is we are, you know, bronze or you know, God willing, gold or something like that, which will be great. And then we'll take our temperature after that and say, where do we want to go? You know, what can we do? What's the easy things to do as suggested by the Pitt capstone study? What would be the easiest things to take on, and what basically does the, you know, council want to do? How far do they want to go? Where do they want to get to? And then we'll use year 2 to sort of try to get there. So that's the goal.
Okay. So does that mean then you have until December 8th to at least submit something, your initial pods, or?
You know, it's a good question, because, you know, at December 8th, what will happen is we will no longer be gold, but we'll be nothing. I mean, we'll be in purgatory unless we say, unless we submit where our score is. But right now, so we need to be, trying to think what the number is. I think it's 536 is a total amount of points or something like that, right, John? It's something with a 5 or a 6. And right now we're 96 out of that. Now we're 96 out of that on 3.5 pods.
Okay.
So I look at that a little optimistically and say, now that we have still 3/4 of the way to go, or a little bit less, that we may be able to meet that gold standard to get there, just on where we or what we've done to date. So, but if we're not, then we'll look at the things that we can do and ask people's interest in getting there, and then it'll be a little bit more of a meeting with council, meeting with Ryan. Where do you want to be? This is how we would get there. What's your, what is your ability to, to work with me to get there?
Right. So is this something you can like submit continually? So say we submitted whatever we had. I mean, are we better off if we submit before December 8th and say we come up silver?
Yeah.
Then can we just keep submitting as we do these things?
You raised the right question, and I'm going to say the answer is yes, because it could only work that way, right? I mean, you'd have to, at some point, you'd have to hit go,
right?
Send it to them. This is what we are. And then if we add something else on, say that we decide that we have used the sidewalks that we're building to enhance, the walking community, and so therefore we get 12 more points because of that. Then we submit that, then it's going to be another. I mean, why wouldn't we be able to do that?
Yeah,
it makes sense.
Because the question in my mind is, well, do you rush to submit something and have it most likely be lower, or are we better off letting it expire and putting a better package together?
Yeah. I would think that we wouldn't want to fall off. Not that I think they're that dynamic where all of a sudden, it's going to be December 9th and there goes McCandless into the, but I don't think it's that dynamic. So I think what we should do is we should get to the point where we are, hit go, see where we are. If we're bronze, then we're bronze, and then let's work toward the next thing.
Right.
Because we'd probably rather be bronze than be nothing.
Not
Yeah.
participating. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Have you checked with them on that incremental addition?
Explain what you mean.
If we submit where we are now, and as we're adding, enhancing what we're doing, have you talked with them about the process? And
we might have, but I doubt we asked that question. I think that's a really good question, and I think that's the only way it could work, right?
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't want to like set another date and then lose that status for so long. Well, if we get there, we get there. So when we had a call with them, Ken, they're just like, hey, whatever you need, we'll work with you, whatever you want to be, like they want this.
Yeah.
So they're very anxious to work with us on those types of things.
Good.
Yeah.
And is December 8th, is that a date that's unique to McCandless, or does everyone expire on December 8th and then they're going to get flooded with all of these?
I think it's unique to us because
Okay.
we would have, because I think the circumstances of us losing the past sustainability, manager or whatever it was, and I'm sure everybody has these same circumstances, but they gave us till that date. So it was sort of a gift because we should have expired in the beginning of 2022.
All right.
Yeah.
But then it did take them, they were behind in putting their new criteria out, is that correct?
That's right. That's right.
Yes.
So we just kind of thought we were skating along behind that.
Yeah. Well, I think we got a gift with December 8th. I mean,
Yeah.
to hold on to the gold where it should have expired, whatever the circumstances.
Yeah.
I feel like we got a gift. So I feel better about that.
Okay.
Yeah, even from the last time, it seemed like they were willing to bend the rules. I mean, maybe not bend the rules in terms of the points and things, but
Right.
bend the rules in terms of submissions and get your stuff together and get your act together. And, they want to
Yeah.
encourage people because if they don't, then you don't do any of these activities that are, sustainable. So,
Yeah, you just give up.
yeah. Right.
But I would say I don't know what the product looked like before, but now it's extremely easy to work with. And you just go down and like anything else, you pick, if you pick this, you get 2 points. If you pick that, you get 1 point. If it's no, you get no points, but then submit documentation. John pulls the documentation, I upload it. It happens in that quick. So it's easy to work with. It really is. Yeah.
It says on their website that if you apply before the end of your 3-year whatever, you answer far fewer questions. And it says that a municipality can be reassessed at any time. And if you do reassess before your 3-year certification expires, many of the questions will not need to be re-answered because they have their own separate expiration dates based on how difficult or durable they are.
Okay.
Sounds like you can do it at any time.
Okay.
If that's what you got from that, then that's good information.
That's on the sustainablepa.org
Yeah.
FAQ. So
Interesting language.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. All right, any other questions for Jeff? Thank you again for that effort.
Mhm.
Great job. All right, next up, anything new to report with Wall Park?
With Wall Park, Jack and I have been spending time in there really looking most at, where the trail's going to go. We have some tools and things like that now. And we spent an afternoon in there enhancing the drainage, and a lot of the drainage coming from that community up above, since that's an older community, the stormwater just gets dumped into gullies. And there used to be established drainage ditches into the creek.
Oh.
And those have been overwhelmed with and everything. And the easiest way to illustrate that is that cement pipe, that big metal pipe with the cement thing at the top. Well, there's 4 foot of sedimentation there. That water's supposed to be going into that pipe, and it's all the way over the top of it. And so I think a lot of the problems of the wetland issues and stuff go away, just reestablishing the drainage. That's a fair amount of shoveling work. So Jack is looking at seeing if we can get some mechanical help on that. And a couple of other things, that there's a tree down at the top end that is in the utility stuff. And so we're waiting for them to remove that tree out so that you have access in. So some of those things that, you always run ahead and then run into a wall for a bit.
Yeah.
So as things dry out here, as we go into summer, it'll be easier to work on that drainage stuff. Just a bit of work that Jack and I did really, I was in there yesterday, really did help with a lot of the drainage. You're not getting the seeps that we had before.
Okay.
But boy, there's a lot of Japanese stiltgrass. It's a 1/2 inch high right now, but it's like that one whole hillside and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So I think I saw Jack had a link or something. Was it a drone?
Oh,
Did you?
I didn't.
Oh, the
Yeah,
drone
A drone?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Movie.
I'm not sure how far that.
I
Yeah,
didn't see that. I saw it, but I didn't look at that. Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, guy with the drone going up the trail, and I got 2/3 of the way up, and I haven't seen the last third. But it gives you a view, and like when you get up to where that gas line goes across, it goes over and shows what the potential on that other side and things. It's actually pretty neat to look at. But
It was well done.
Uh-huh.
different perspective on things.
Mhm.
But I haven't seen the top end, the last third of the trail. But yeah, that's Jack got a guy to get in there with the drone and the camera and all that.
Did that go out to everybody?
I wasn't aware of how broadly that was disseminated.
Okay. Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah,
I looked at that real quick. I don't know if it just.
I saw it.
Did it come to you
You
guys?
guys? No?
No, I haven't seen it.
Okay.
I didn't think it was helped everybody. That's why I didn't.
Jack also some correspondence with about naming and that kind of thing. That's kind of a,
Yeah,
I don't know.
and we touched on that briefly, and I'm letting him run with that.
Yeah, I think it's above us.
Partly it comes from the deeds,
Oh, right.
and there's some restrictions up at the top end on screening, planting some trees and things like that, and there's a couple other restrictions in there, but there's nothing that the reality is we read that and realized that it's there, but I'm not sure that anybody else realizes any of that's there.
Right.
And that was all when the property was deeded to
Yeah, so that was a long time ago.
I'm unaware of those details too.
Yeah, really not that, I mean, that land was leased for oil and gas back in the 1890s. So you have no idea who still controls those mineral rights, and we don't know if we'll find an abandoned well in there. To this point, I haven't seen any evidence of it, but doesn't mean it's not there.
There was a conversation going on one of the community forums. People were asking about what was going to happen with that land that's at the top, that's the Highland and Harmony section there, that fill at the trailhead. And so the discussion went on about it might be a park, there's going to be a trail, so on and so forth. And some people were asking about volunteer opportunities and if there was going to be any opportunity to help with trail construction. So just as an FYI, there's a little bit of interest out there.
And what forum was that?
The McCandless PA Community Forum on Facebook.
I'll rely on you to communicate with them, but when we do start the trail construction, we'll let you know so that we can get some volunteers out there. That top part that I just call the dump, although it's landfill. When the township is done with it, the intent is to probably put in a little park, you know, for children up there. The one issue is with Highland Road, getting a crosswalk there so that you can get over to Potter Park. And so you're getting different governmental bodies involved, who has responsibility for what, and putting stop signs and things like that in. So
Yeah.
all of that stuff takes some time and to work through. So those things are all we're aware of them. We haven't finished them at all.
And Matt, to your point, I think there's an intention to start like a Friends of All Park and a Friends of Potter Park as well group. Ultimately, that would be a collection of folks that were interested in helping to be stewards. So, maybe we'll tap back into that. I wrote down the name of the group on Facebook, but we can tap back into them to let them know once that's been established. Those folks could maybe join that and then find out about those work days, because that's how we'll probably post them, I think.
Yeah, there were a lot of people who were very excited about the idea that might become a park. And I think when you have people who are excited, if there's also work that needs to be done, if it's simple enough and not super laborious, and you get enough people doing it, many hands make light work, right?
So I was going to ask about this when we get to mine. I don't know if you want my update, but I don't know if we should wait. I wanted to ask John, how do we go about, what do you think is the best route to go about getting, it was recommended to us that we get one email address set up that isn't specific to any one person, so that way if people change, leave the EAC and whatnot, we don't have to worry about that. Do you think that for these Friends of groups, that problems in the park, like down trees on a trail and things like that, should we have folks report that stuff to the EAC email address? Or do you think that we should perhaps create a separate email address for Potter Park and one for Wall Park trails?
Technically, if it's happening on town property, it'll be a complaint probably to Public Works. We can probably set up like a separate form for park issues like that and say which park is it in, what's the issue with the trails and down tree.
Okay.
We can do that via an online form, or we can just say, reach out to this email address.
Okay.
Or the email addresses as well, just send it to different people for certain things. Probably not for this, because it should be something that Public Works be handling.
We've discussed getting the activities committee involved, and that Facebook page is is a wonderful resource too of getting the volunteers together, but it's, you know, not, the intent is not to have township workers constructing a trail. The intent is to have volunteers doing it. We're just not to the stage of drawing those people in at this point.
Mhm.
But that's a wonderful resource. We need to tap into that. So if you can throw a few, you know, we'll get, you know, nice things to them, and
Stay tuned.
and we'll be talking to them in a month or two.
Yeah, I told them I would try to keep them informed, and then they should attend an EAC meeting 7:30 second Wednesday every month.
They're not here.
John, I know you mentioned Potter Park. I did, I heard that there's the town's going to put a new sign up at Potter Park. I don't know where that is in the process, but maybe something like, you know, if you see a problem or want to report a problem or something like that, have a, like you say, either a specific email address or phone number or QR code or something like that. Something.
Yeah, I don't want to jump it. Are we jumping ahead on the agenda? I forget where I think I'm last.
Yeah, you are, but that's fine. We can segue into yours. That's fine.
Yeah, Dave, that was going to be one of the items on the Potter Park, was that we were going to work with the public works, the DPW folks apparently have a sign shop that they can handle this in-house for us. So we were going to get signage made that just identifies the park, you know, says that it's open from dusk to dawn, lists where the folks can report a problem, and a few other little rules or whatever you want to call them.
Dogs on leash, things like that.
But that I haven't submitted that yet to the DPW guys, so that's still in the works.
Yeah,
that's an item on my Potter Park report here.
it sounds like you know a lot more about it than I do. I just got wind of it somehow, so I wanted to bring it up. That's all.
Yeah, probably maybe Jack mentioned it, maybe because I had been badgering him about it. I'm guessing.
Okay.
So if you're done with Wall Park, go ahead and let Dawn have it. Go ahead.
Okay, so should we, so just real quick, the rain gardens. So the rain gardens over near the Heritage Center are looking good. I've visited them this spring, and you know, we expected the thistle to come back, and it is, but it's not coming back in as great a demand or as great a quantity as it was before. So that's good. I'm going to put in a request for some funding for some plants. Jack indicated that, you know, a small amount of money for some plants could be budgeted. So I'm going to put in for that. And the hope is probably in June, we'll start having, I'll host 1 or 2 work days, maybe in June, and we can do some plantings and some weeding then. And some mulching, and maybe do, you know, 2 work days in July, and then again in August. So that's pretty much it on the rain garden. Oh, just real quick, the plants. Part of the plants that we're going to be getting are going to be from the, I don't want to misstate the name of this place, so correct me somebody if I have it wrong, but is it the Western Pennsylvania Audubon Society? Their native plant nursery opens up this Saturday. And so we can take a look. They have a plant list posted with a bunch of the native plants that they're going to have available, but they don't have any price lists up yet, unfortunately. But so we'll be getting our materials from them. They gave us a lot of the original plants that were planted in the rain gardens. And I should probably also report that the tail end of the rain gardens that we didn't get weeded and cleaned up last year, we are going to work on those, but we're going to work on those slowly. I know Jack wants to try to have some of the DPW guys get in there with some major clearing tools and do some clearing for us, and then we'll get volunteers in there to sort of finish cleaning them out versus just going at it with all volunteer efforts, which is what we did last fall. So we will get to that, but it's going to take some time. Oh, hey, there's Jack.
Don, if I can interject, Jack and I had talked about at the top end of the water gardens, there's a lot of Japanese knotweed.
Yep, yep. We've mentioned that before. I mean, go ahead.
We were talking about, getting that out, and I'm thinking that we discussed about going in there with a weed eater in June and then trying a couple of different herbicides in August, similar to what they're doing on the different watershed managements. And
yeah.
So don't worry about the knotweed up at the top end so much.
Okay. So that's it for the rain gardens. And then for Potter Park, just mentioning that what's that?
About the rain garden?
Yeah.
Do you want that extra mulch that's over there at the town hall for the rain garden?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. So Potter Park, we're going to get some signage there. And then Jack asked that we take a look at the quality of the water in the pond. So I got a test kit here that we can use to test the phosphorus and then nitrates and phosphorus and the pH. I still need to look into getting some materials to be able to check the dissolved oxygen. I don't really have the equipment for that right now. So I have to still work on that piece. But we did get
a little more on. I did talk to the Stormwater Committee about the health of that pond. Mm-hmm. And they're going to look into maybe putting a forebay in front to help filter that water before it goes into the pond.
Who's going to do that? The DPW guys will do it, or?
Well, the town would have it done through our engineering firm.
Okay.
They would put a forebay up at the top corner where the water flows in. Mm-hmm. That would remediate all the sediment coming down before it got into the pond. Mm. So that would be helpful. Okay. And they have to buy a little piece of property, I think, to accomplish that. So there's the Stormwater Committee's looking at that as well.
Okay.
Don, is there any swimming or boating that happens in that pond?
Not that I'm aware of, Jack. Can you speak to ever having witnessed any? I know people fish. I've seen that, but no, I don't believe so. I've not seen that, but I don't know.
I was just thinking if you wanted to do coliforms or, anything like that in the testing, but it doesn't sound like it's needed.
Yeah, I think it's mainly used as a fishing pond, but to your point, there's also no signage to sort of indicate what you are or aren't allowed to do. So maybe that's something we should consider as well. Is a sign maybe at the pond?
Is the water like inviting, like you would want to jump in, or is
no, it's there's not clear access points. Like you'd have to go through muck and plants to get into it, and there's not like a little beachy area or anything.
Yeah,
it's a fish pond.
Really,
it's a fish pond. Yeah, you sort of tell that.
You wouldn't even want your dog to swim around in there, right? Okay.
Yeah, questionable. Probably.
I don't have a water dog.
Yeah. And then just for the project with the Heritage Center wanting to do the summer programs, I understand that they are going to be doing something. I haven't been able to get together with Abby yet. She was sick in April. I was sick, and we haven't yet reconnected to talk about. So I really can't give a report yet on the summer programs, but it is still in the works.
Okay, that's great. Thanks, Don.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm going to jump back real quick to update on the Get Solar program. I did attend a quick meeting back at the end of April with John. I can't even say his last name, who replaced Leo, I believe, as our contact with PA Solar. And just the update I got from him was Northland Public Library was the only organization from McCandless that went through with the full, or I guess was continuing with the process of getting all of the solar information and estimates. There were 3 other companies, not a McCandless, that applied through our program. Sipple Steel, Sipple Coy, and Thar Technologies, that they're continuing to work with those groups as well. My big question for him was whether EAC involvement was still needed at this point. Had this program, more or less run its course at this point? For this cycle, yes. Our involvement here is done for this cycle. As potential follow-up, he said they would reach back out to us next fall to see if there's any interest in doing this again for their next fall and spring cycles. And I'm also interested in, I guess, the listing of, I guess, Jack, you had the spreadsheet of folks that had been contacted for potential, I guess, whether the ones that were interested in the webinar, or I don't know, I thought we had another list of names that they were going to reach back out at some point just to see if we had contacts that they could do any more follow-up with. So I don't know where that stands, if you still have anything. I know you shared a spreadsheet at one point.
Yeah, I had it. I don't know if I still do.
Yeah.
I think it's in there. I just have to figure out how to find it.
But that's the only, and we can reassess in the fall as to whether there's any value to us going through this again, or we could discuss it at that point. But for now, that cycle is completed. And I have not had any response from Tony on whether there was any further information on coordination with the town for solar. Jack, unless you have any updates on that, that's whether that went any further than Tony's initial conversations with Brian.
I think there were multiple conversations, but I don't think they decided.
I reached out and I did not get an answer from him on that. So I'll try one more time just to kind of either close it out or decide whether we need to keep pursuing it.
I'll talk to Brian tomorrow.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so I think that's it for the major project updates. Next up, Matt and any student outreach updates.
So not much. I haven't had any direct contact with Jen Ellen this month. Looking at the tracking sheet, there have been some more of the sewer decals put down. Most of them look like they've been done by her and some other teachers. So I don't know if this is just an issue of, I mean, I know the weather hasn't been the best on the weekends, past couple, so it could be that. But I will reach out to her again and kind of find out, if she can take the temperature of the students and find out if this is something that they're still interested in doing, or, I don't know if maybe some of them if they can continue to do this over the summer or not. I don't know if they can get access to the materials or not, but I'll find out some information about that, because I know school wraps up at the beginning of June, and I don't know if we want to get some of that stuff back and if we have other volunteers that want to do this stuff, or if we just want to wait and have them continue to do it next year. But it doesn't seem to be, they don't seem to be rushing to get this done.
Right. And just, you could let her know too, that if we didn't already, that we do have more supplies. If we could get the kids, getting out and doing these, we're more than happy to restock.
Yeah. I will let her know about that as well. And I mean, it may be the type of thing too, that if they start with it next year, maybe it can be worked into the, hey, here's the list of things that you can do this year, and maybe kids will start doing it from the top or something. I don't know if it works that way or not. So, but that's all I've got for that.
Okay. And then I guess we can both follow up on the junior EAC member program. Thank you, Matt, for doing this. He sent this out, I guess, this morning.
Yeah, it was this morning. My apologies to everybody for getting out so late. That's my fault.
I forgot about it too. but basically he took the McCandless website junior chick council person program and tailored it to work for our EAC program. So I don't know if anyone else had a chance to take a look at that, had any comments or questions or thoughts.
Look at it, look good.
It's really, pretty basic. It's the same thing town council has attempted to do, and I think Jackie had told us we've just used the same application form. It's the same one we used for EAC and same one they used for the junior council program. So if no one has any questions or if there's no further discussion, I was hoping to take a quick vote on that tonight. The follow up to this, if the committee agrees that we want to go ahead with this, I'll put together a project form and give it to you to take to council.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we have to get approved.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. So, if you think there's any more information we need on this, Matt and I can work on the form. I'll put it together, and then Matt, I'll give it to you to work with. And as soon as we get that together, we can get that to you and go to council with it.
Thank you.
So
does council have a junior
No, we do not.
person? No.
they never got anybody.
And I think Brian's initial vision was to have them represent the council and with the EAC. But they've never progressed it any further. So I see no reason why we have somebody in mind. We just shouldn't move forward.
Well, and we can go through and now that Matt's got these contacts, hopefully we could at least aim it at kids that we know have an interest in this. And
I think they're two different interests completely.
Yeah, I think so too. One's government and one is, we're government too, but with the environmental topics. So hopefully we could pick up some interest there.
The only thing I would say is if I was a kid and I saw write a monthly report to the EAC, that would turn me off.
Well, and these are things we can talk about. That's
Okay.
what I wanted
Yeah.
to bring up.
On the other hand, learning to write a monthly report is probably a good thing for a kid to do.
But I'm wondering beyond our minutes, like what would they write? I guess they would just be taking things from what we've reported on and just making little.
And that's a good
Paragraph.
point. I'm looking at that. The town council would write a monthly report to town council. That's, I guess, what would that report be? Is it a report to the EAC on what exactly? Maybe we could be a little more descriptive as to what that might be, so we don't scare anyone off.
So is that something that Matt copied more or less from what so, I don't know that we have that same need from our junior EAC member. I would think a better call to action for them would be that they pick a project to either lead or assist with.
Okay.
And just provide, updates on maybe we could indicate what sort of periodic basis they would need to provide updates. Maybe not necessarily monthly, but maybe quarterly at a minimum on their project as to where they stand with it.
Can we even just say provide a monthly report at EAC meeting?
Write a monthly status update.
Yeah.
And provided, of course, that some months they may not have lots of movement, but on their project, but.
Right.
Yeah, I think for me, the keeping it very general was the key, because then that way we can then determine once they are there, and we can even determine with them what does this look like, right? And the reason to have it is more to have an artifact, right? To have a thing. So at the end of their tenure, they can say, oh, look at this, look at what I did. So when they're, the kids that are going to be applying for this, I am assuming, and I could be totally wrong, but I would guess, are going to be your higher achievers. They're going to be the ones who are looking to use this in a college application, that type of thing. So to have something that they can present and say, hey, look at this, look at what I did while I was a part of this, rather than just saying, yeah, I was on it.
Well, to your point, then maybe it's
helpful.
a yearly report or quarter, I just hate to have them write a report every month, because what are they really going to do other than sort of.
Well, to me, I mean, my suggestion would be, and again, this would be discussable or something we could discuss, but to me, it would be more of like okay, well, this is what I heard in the meeting. This is the stuff that's going to happen. And here are my reflections on this, right? Kind of like this is how I see this going, or this is what I'm excited about, or this is something I want to get involved in, right? So it's not a formal report in the way that a report would be written that needs to be, formatted in a particular, I mean, we can figure out a format for them, but I could even create like a Google Doc that was more of like what are the projects that were discussed? What are we doing moving forward? And what are your reflections on that type of a thing, right? So I'm not seeing this as like it's not being graded by anybody, right? It's more of a notebook, a log book for them to keep track of what's happening and what they've seen and what they've done and how, what have they learned from this? Because I think that's a lot of the value that comes out of it. So by keeping it very general in the description, we make it so that, now I agree, if every kid looks at it and goes like, well, I don't want to write anything, then we're in trouble. But I mean, they all have AI now, so they'll just type into ChatGPT, what's a monthly report for an EAC look like, and let's get it all printed out there.
I mean, I think we have a unique opportunity now. Not that we have a person, we don't have officially on the line to say that we have somebody, but these other things are sort of, maybe you have an update, and maybe you don't. The solar, the litter is going to go away till but the sustainability is going to go on there's something to say about that every month, because we meet on it. There's a site you can go in, you can see where we are on that, and how we're sort of trending, and things that we're able to do, and things that we've done, and things that we can't do. So there's always something. I mean, that's sort of low-hanging fruit. That sustainability is something they can always write about. They can't always write about the wall park, it's going to come and go, and litter is going to come and go. But this is always going to be there, at least for the next 2 years. And if I think of somebody, I think Venkat has a daughter, and I think she's in NA, and I mean, it's governmental and it's environmental. And I would think that she'd probably be a very good fit for that.
Okay. So we need to, I guess, kind of massage that statement a little bit, so it doesn't sound like, we're giving them busy work every month. You have to write a report.
Yeah, no, but I think Matt's points were right on, and wasn't something I was really thinking about, but they want to have something that they can take with them to the next step in life, that shows something that they really did,
And go to college, it'd be nice to have.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So we can work on kind of cleaning that up a little bit, see if we can, like you say, keep it general, but not make it sound like homework.
Sounds good.
So we think we vote on this, right? It goes to council to vote on.
Yeah, we've got to kind of roll this into a project form with this as an attachment, is my thought. And then you can take it that way.
Sounds good.
Okay.
I think ideally we would have this, if we can, I would love to have it posted by August, so that we could then get somebody. There may even be, are there months listed on there? I don't remember if I actually.
I don't think so.
No, okay.
So it says September/October through June.
Right. So if we can have that posted by August, so that we can then be looking at the applications in September and have somebody in by October, that would be ideal. I think so. I think if we can get it posted by August at the latest, that would be great. But I don't know if it can move that fast or what. I don't know.
Okay. Okay. So I would like to propose then that we request from council that EAC start a junior environmental advisory committee member program based on this description that we've put together and the form to be prepared for council.
Right.
So we have a second.
I'll second.
All right.
So we're approving the project form also, I hope. Right?
Well, no, we're approving that we're.
So I don't want to, do we want to wait another month to approve the project form or just?
My thought was we're just approving that we want to go ahead with this program.
Okay,
If you would like to review the form before we send it in, we can do that. But I think we're just voting on the fact that we want to do this. And this is the path we're going to take. So.
And I think, I mean, the form could be shared with everybody via email, right? We could do that, have it.
Sure.
Give a week for review type of thing. And if folks have comments or additions.
Yeah, we'll clean
The
this up.
comments have to go individually back to Judy. They can't be shared amongst us. We can't deliberate. We can.
No, that's a good point.
Send the information back to Judy.
And between Matt and I, we will finalize the form, correct?
okay.
Okay. So we've got a motion, we've got a second. Take a vote. All in favor, say aye, raise your hand.
Aye. Aye.
All opposed? No opposed, all right. Passes, then we will try and get that out within the next couple of weeks. Well, I guess your next council meeting will be a week from, I guess, about another week and a half.
Second and fourth.
Okay. So we'll try and get that to you in time, which means you'll need it about this time next week.
I should have it a little bit in advance so I can go with Brian.
Right. Okay. All right. And the goal will be to get that to you by early next week.
Good.
We can get that.
One of the things you might want to put when that form is basically a sales form.
Yeah.
And one of the things I think that we benefit from is we would have more connectivity to youth.
Okay.
To help out with our environmental cleanup and whatever we're doing.
Okay. That's an objective.
I think also to relate to that, also setting the stage for progression into those who will take our places when we are gone, type of a thing, right? Because we don't, I mean, I don't know. I feel like we need to make sure that we have an open seat right now, right? You know, like we just need to make sure that there are people who are interested in doing this in perpetuity. So
you can help me fill out those lines, Matt. All right, thank you very much. Next up, North Hills EAC event. A date has been set, Monday, May the 22nd. I am still waiting for further details from Hampton. As far as time, exact location within, it will be at Hampton Community Park. I believe they're getting a pavilion for us. And they will also put together, Liz Spence has asked for, and I think you probably got this, asked for any agenda type items. If there's something somebody would like to discuss. At this point, her plan is to invite NAEC to come to the meeting too, to speak with us. I know we've dealt with them. I'm not sure if all the other EACs have. So just to give a brief overview of what NAEC does and how they can work with all of our groups to accomplish all of our goals. So I'll nudge Liz again, see if we've got some dates. I mean, some times for that evening. And Jack, I'm sorry, I know that time doesn't work for you. Always prefer that you be there, but actually everybody else that responded, that 22nd date was good. So that kind of won the vote. So look forward to hearing from me, hopefully very shortly on exact times for that. Once again, that's Monday, the 22nd of May in Hampton. And we also have a speaker series event coming up next week, the 16th. See my write-up here. I actually have the write-up from the Northland Library site If you go on their events calendar, we are on there. And the description is electricity and your home going solar in 2023. And we have 2 speakers. We have Greg Winks, Manager of Solar Business Development for Western PA with Infinity. And we have Bill Spahn, owner of TrueTech Tools, to discuss beneficial electrification examples for how to promote more electric energy sources in your home. Let's see the timing on that. We start at 6:30. That will be at the Heritage Center here. 6:30 to 7:30. I believe that's the presentation with some time for questions as well. You register through Northland Library website. I just looked before this meeting. I think when I had signed up a couple of weeks ago, it said 49 spaces available. Now it says 34. So at least 15 people have signed up since I did. So hopefully we'll get a decent crowd like we did at the last one.
It's election night, and that's the only thing that might mess it up a little bit.
Not sure how we missed that. Because I'm used to election being earlier.
The first
in the
one,
month.
yeah, I know, yeah.
Used to it being
Seems late.
later in the month. So just once again, then I don't know if, I know you've done a couple of rounds of
You can do one more.
publicity, maybe one more push. Send that out one more time and hope to see those of you there that are free. I plan to be there. All right. Next up, Dave, you had seen that Garden in the Park is coming back.
Yes, I was I think I was on the North Park site. But they had a litter pickup on the 15th, the same as us, and I happened to come across the date for their garden in the park, July 29th in the morning. I think it's 9 to 1 or so. So have the Chestnut folks gotten an invite? We haven't gotten
got an invite, but I didn't feel like sitting up at the table by myself this year. I was going to be part of EAC.
Okay.
So they're sending out invites?
Yeah,
So
I got one like over a month ago.
Oh,
I'll
Nobody
dig
in this
back and
group?
see
Okay,
if I can. Hopefully I didn't delete it.
because last year I don't think they sent any invites out.
They
It
had-
was strictly-
They had a change of leadership and
Okay,
This is the Master Gardeners at the Master Gardener site, right?
yes.
Okay.
because it could very well be that an invite went to an older member of this group that's no longer participating, and it didn't.
because they were using,
didn't forward.
they were going with old, they had like 3-year-old
Yeah.
stuff.
I'm sure. So. Could you contact someone for us or?
Oh, one way or another, I'll get you the
Okay,
Okay.
information.
for those of you, I guess that haven't been on. Maybe since the last time they did this, which is probably most of you. I don't know if you're familiar with Garden in the Park. It's late July or early August. That's a Saturday. Penn State Master Gardeners put it on. The park there where the cannon is, and is that their demonstration garden?
Yes. Yep.
And in the past, they had invited groups like ours to set up an information table. And I know, Dawn, you're aware of those things too. Generally, I know we need to work on our display things for tables, but we'll see if we can get a table to set up, and then we'll need to discuss how we man that, what we do with our table. But we've done this in the past.
Yeah, typically we need a person or two that's kind of in charge of setup at 8 or 8:30 in the morning to stay there for an hour or so, and then 2 more people come in and relieve the first group at maybe 10 or 10:30 and go till 1 o'clock. So but it's I've always liked it. It's a good opportunity to just see what's on people's minds and kind of advertise the EAC and the projects that we do and that kind of thing, but.
Where do they do it at?
At the intersection of Ingomar and Babcock, at the corner
Oh,
where
in
Cannon
Cannon.
is, yeah, that whole corner there.
And as an inducement, they usually have free Penn State Creamery ice cream.
Which they did not have last year. They just had samples of garlic.
Usually have Penn State Creamery ice cream.
I don't know if they give away plants or they give away garlic or is it garlic tasting or
There's
something?
garlic tasting. They do have some seeds.
There's
hopefully-
definitely kids' activities, a table or two of.
They raffle off some items.
Coloring and crafts and that kind of stuff, so. Yeah, hopefully it gets back to what it was, I guess, pre-COVID, so.
Right.
Yeah, they had some leadership changes and stuff and just trying to get things up and rolling again.
Okay, thanks for catching that, Dave.
Yeah.
Any other community outreach type items we missed? Nothing new. Miscellaneous items. I believe last month, Jeff, you had said you'd take the next one.
Yeah.
Thank you, Matt, for this month. And
Yeah, they're, I mean, Matt and Dave's stuff. So if I look at this, which I'm doing right now, I mean, Dave did the recycling tips, right? And then Matt did the environmental tip. Am I doing an environmental tip?
Environmental tip.
Okay, all right, and I'll have to go back into my,
Subject of your choice.
yes. Think about,
We could certainly recycle an old one.
Or recycle an old one.
Yeah.
yep, okay. I'll go back and look in my notes, and then if I start to panic, then I'll send out an email and say, I need some ideas, but okay. And John, when does that do again?
I'll just do 22nd and 23rd.
Of,
May.
okay. Okay.
John, you didn't use my title. I thought that was the most clever part.
Go back and read that now.
TikTok.
Oh.
Yeah, if anyone has a creative title, I'll use it in the future.
TikTok.
All right, and an update on the open position. We have, I guess, some interviews coming up.
Yeah,
An
we have
interview
one
coming
official
up?
applicant. There was one person who was eligible last year who did not respond.
Okay,
Now I know we were talking about Monday, maybe at like 5 might be a good time. So that was good for you. Jack, is that good for you?
What time?
You're around 5 on Monday.
that's the 14th. No, that's the 15th. Right? Yeah, I think your email said the 14th, that's
I'm
the
good.
15th.
Okay, I'll make sure the guys do that. Should be. Dave, you want to sit
Can
down?
you do that?
If you need me.
No,
I'm
I wish
okay
you
on
would. Get
The
another-
15th at 5 o'clock, I'm okay, if you need me,
Okay.
yeah. This is Zoom, right?
It'll be Zoom, yeah.
Okay,
So will you, I guess, send a link to us?
Yeah. I'll confirm the
Yeah,
applicant's
well,
okay.
yeah, obviously.
No one said no so far, so,
Okay,
yeah, so fingers crossed.
okay, now, sounds good. Thanks, John. And then the process would be, we'd interview on Monday. How quick does that normally turn around? I guess we make a recommendation and then it goes to council the following Monday.
It could probably happen. It could also be pushed until the first meeting in June because that is when the EAC reports happen, but. it could
Oh,
be
okay.
involved in that too. There's only one applicant.
7.
Okay.
For 7 numbers.
Okay,
Is it-
so, but we won't hear anything for
yeah,
Okay.
probably 2 weeks. at least.
Do you have
it
the
used to be,
questions?
it used to be one per week.
Question, a list of
Yeah, right.
questions?
No.
Okay.
So-
Got it. Okay, got it.
And then
You
they
did
did
some
away
with
with
me.
the
Didn't you?
one person from each
Yeah.
one, so it's just 7.
You're not gonna be able to hit that mark, I don't think.
I'm pretty sure you did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We did once the first time we did.
Yeah.
Resurrect that.
My notes, I probably not.
We should come up with a list.
Between the group of us, we'll if you want to share those, we can. The few I've done. I had a list of questions myself. Everybody had their own list of questions. And it's 15 minutes. I think is traditionally how long it goes, right? Okay. So that's all I had for agenda topics. Does anyone have anything to add for upcoming months? I think it sounds like we're all pretty busy on a project or two.
I think you said you're not here next month, is that
Correct?
Okay.
I am not here next month.
All right.
I apologize. I've an invitation to visit a friend in Colorado, and that was the only day I could get a decent flight out. So I can't even participate on Zoom.
That's fine. So
But we'll still
Stuck
do
with-
our agenda.
we're stuck with me.
It's all good.
You'll be in control.
Where's that gavel?
I guess next up, Jack, do you have a town council report?
That was a great shape. I sure Ken gave you an update on the
On the trail?
trail.
Yes, he did. And thank you. The drone video. Is that something we can send to the whole
Yeah.
committee? Okay, because
Yeah,
I
great.
think only a couple of us got it.
Okay,
I'll look for it, but if you have that, do you have that link handy to
yeah, I have.
send out?
I can
Would you
send.
mind doing that?
I thought I sent it to everybody. Did
I got it.
Did you get it? You
Yeah.
got it, Dave?
I got it,
I got it.
Okay.
but I don't think,
I'm not sure it went to everybody.
Matt, did you get it?
I don't think so, but now that everybody's saying it, I'm gonna look and see if I missed it.
It was at the very bottom. It was kind of had to read it to understand it. You had to click on it to see.
Well, if I had to read something, Jack, forget it. I'll look at. I'll take a look.
Send you a note, but it's a decent video of what the trail is and it's going to be. MPSA did a great job taking some huge trees out of there. And that opened it all up, but there's a boatload of trees that have fallen in the interim. I was down there today and I moved some. So it's just, we're gonna have to have a trail steward that's responsible for going in and keeping the trail clear.
Well, the update that you missed is that Matt actually had through some Facebook pages, interested people in being involved in the park and trails and so forth. So
Terrific.
yeah.
My concern is we just have too many people show up and that becomes a problem. You know, 6, 8, 10 people is a controllable amount.
Mhm.
If we put it out and we get a big slew of people, which I think we might. I think there's a lot of interest in that trail.
Mhm.
We don't really need that many people.
You can always set it up as an event that folks need to register for, and you can say, you know,
Exactly.
25, looking for 25 volunteers, registration required or whatever, when we advertise the events, if you're worried.
And then you get 10.
Right, well, that's,
Yeah.
it set
Yeah.
your bar a little bit higher and,
Right.
and, yeah.
Well, we're
I
almost
like that.
there. I've been doing a lot of traveling. I was gone for pretty much the last 3 weeks. So now I'll get a little focused on making it. Before we can even do that next step, we need the town or the utility companies to remove a big tree that fell down at the trailhead at the top of the trail. It just kind of screwed everything up.
Mhm.
And then after that gets removed, then we can move forward.
is there timing or a plan on the fill area there at Harmony?
Probably another year until that fills out. But we're in the process of creating a long-term recreational plan.
Right,
We're actually hiring a part-time rec person.
Yep,
And so one of the things I would like to see done, but I'm only one voice out of 7, is to make that a pocket park up there.
mhm,
And Back in the day, everybody used to say, oh, we have North Park, and that was great, but people don't want 2 cars anymore, and they want to be able to walk to parks and what have you. So I think that would serve the Ingomar area quite well.
Right.
If we could make that a nice park.
Yeah.
And then trail connect over the hill and go down to Potter Park. And from Potter Park, you can walk through down to Vestal, Vestal down to Dublin. So really connects up all the parks.
Because it sounded like from what Matt was saying is that people are already talking that, oh, it's going to become a park. So
yeah, there's a lot of I think there'd be a lot of support, especially from like families and stuff in the neighborhood that I live in and close to around that area. But there's also a lot of people who are like, oh yeah, sure, they've been saying that for years. Yeah, that'll never happen. You know,
We could go walk it now. I mean, it's clearly delineated now. So people can start walking it. The more people walk it, the more it becomes a trail.
well, it's the park is more what I mean. There were people who were interested in the trail for sure, but there were also people who were, in fact, there were people who were saying, oh, I walk that all the time on the trail. And then the park was the thing where people were just like, whatever. And I was like, well, you know, that's what we're shooting for. So,
Well, we do have in the budget, we're doing extensive work in the park this year. And it came in a little more expensive than we had expected. So it'll carry over into next year. So the next 2 years, you'll see major improvements down at Wall Park itself. And by the way, we're going to have to call it Brant Trail, not Wall Trail, because one of the deeds that was deeded over to the town stated that it would have to be named after the Brant family. So I talked to Brian O'Malley, and he's in agreement. We should probably call it Brant Trail in Wall Park. So that'll be the official name, unless anybody has a better idea.
That works for me.
It's a trail.
Call it whatever you want. Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was
Thanks,
in
Jeff.
good shape.
Great. All right. Ellen has joined us again tonight. Do you have any comments for us?
I do.
Okay.
I'm going to start with the zoning. I'm not exactly sure why it was on the agenda, but I didn't.
Yes, and you know what? I apologize. I really did not mean for that to be on the agenda. It was from last month and I forgot to take it off.
Okay. So just out of curiosity, how many people live in a residential zone right now?
Let's raise our hands.
Okay.
Yeah.
Out of us, or
Yeah. In the committee, how many of you live in a residential zone in a zoning district right now?
Imagine there are
Anybody
two.
live in the commercial zone? Okay. I'm sure you're all right. In the new zoning code, there's no residential district. There's no commercial district. And I continue to be concerned that nobody else is concerned about the new zoning code. And to me, it feels kind of like, and I've never done this, but you hired an architect to build a house for you, but you never look at the plans. And then when the house is built, you're like, well, you know, I wanted a 1-story ranch and we had a 2-story building. And when something gets done at the zoning hearing board, it doesn't go to town council, it gets appealed to the Allegheny Court of Common Pleas. It's a legal document. And I wish that the Environmental Advisory Council had been more involved in the process. I think the planting guide that the Environmental Council did, Advisory Council did, is very nice. I don't think it's robust enough for a legal document. I don't think the choices that are presented to people include, I think they should be all native plants. I don't think there should be any non-native plants. I think that there could be more plants available, and that the plants are important because they support the ecosystems for the native insects. And so I wish that the Environmental Advisory Council had been able to review the plans as they were coming along, like the Planning Commission did. I know you were on the committee. But I wish that the Environmental Advisory Council had been more involved. It is something that affects, because of the change in the classifications, it affects every single person in the campus. And I just don't hear a level of concern about this, that it'll be something like, oh, you know, I didn't pay attention. So, my other piece to that is that I think that some environmental advisory councils, before there's any building that takes place, that the environmental advisory council takes a look at the plans to see if they fit in with the environmental objectives for the town. I don't believe that's in the new zoning code, but that would be something that would be nice to have. And I know you're already doing so much. And it would be like, oh, one more thing, but to have a voice in the green space for the buildings that are taking place, that would be very nice. There's something, I did a quick look, and I'm not sure I'm going to say his last name correctly, but Doug Tallamy, who's an entomologist, and had an awakening that when he was planting all these ornamental plants in his yard, that none of his native insects, none of the native insects would be able to dine on them, has been leading a movement to plant native plants. And he has some website called Homegrown National Park. And the idea that residents within communities will be planting native plants and providing this ecosystem then for the native insects. And it would be, you know, maybe that would be something that could be included in some variation into the new zoning code. I, of course, am advocating for a no vote for the new zoning code because it hasn't, the last open house in February, the June open house, there was a mailer that went out to every resident. In February, there was not enough eyes on it. So that's my concern about the new zoning code. I want to thank you for putting up the whoever it is who puts up the Facebook page about the dark sky lights, and I have another piece on that. Tonight is a high bird migration. I'm sorry for the people on the phone. I don't know, I mean on the Zoom, if I hold this up, can you see it? But if you go to Birdcast Local, you can see that tonight's a high migration night. And for these high migration nights, is there a way to get it on the Facebook page in real time?
I mean, I can post before I leave.
Okay, that would be wonderful. And if I miscounted, I'll have another one here for you. And if I put the website at the bottom, and if it's, I can never, you know, it's too long, but if you just say Birdcast Local, right, you can put in the name of the town or the location, and you can see if it's a high migration night or not.
Just as a quick comment, we didn't have blue skies today. You had like kind of haze. That's actually from fires out in Alberta.
Oh, really? Oh,
That's just how far that stuff goes.
You notice it was an angry sky this evening, but there were no clouds.
Right. Yeah, that's the smoke from the fire.
Does that disorient the birds, or is that just the same as having a cloudy sky?
Cloudy sky.
It makes coffee.
So can I ask a question about, so with regard to the zoning, your zoning concerns? So have you voiced your opinions at council meetings about this?
Several times.
Okay, because I just want to make sure, okay,
that you're not relying on us.
Yes.
To relate your concerns.
No,
that's what I'm going for.
You know, it would be nice. Well, no, I'm not relying on you to make the concerns. But thank you for asking to follow up.
Yeah, well, what I hear that there are pointed parts of the zoning that the EAC could or should have input in, And those are things that we can talk about. You know, or we can't talk about or whatever, but those are, I mean, those are things that are, you know, at least conversation pieces for us. But the general zoning laws is something that I want to make sure that you're not relying on us.
No,
as
but
Katie said.
all the zoning laws are about to change.
Okay, right.
I mean, it was copied and pasted. It wasn't a case of like when you do track changes, when you're doing a Word document and you can see what was there before. It was just thrown out.
Mhm.
And a new code was written, and maybe parts of it are good, maybe it's not, but you know, the old code's approximately 200 to 300 pages long, and the new code is approximately 200 to 300 pages long. It's a lot of stuff to look at, and it's not something you really look at until you need it. But if you haven't looked at it ahead of time, yeah. It is posted on the Town of McCandless website. So the old zoning map, you could look on the side. I believe it has the streets, and it tells you what district you're in. And this you kind of have to look at the map.
Yep.
Yes, but I definitely think that there's a place for the EAC to have a voice in the green parts of the zoning code.
Which, if I understand correctly, really isn't the zoning code, it's the land development ordinance that goes as the companion to the zoning code. And that's where I had voiced my disappointment that our task force did not take the time to address the land development ordinance part of it. It was purely the planning, the zoning ordinance part. So yeah, I share the disappointment that we didn't get the same input into that happen. I appreciate your comments.
And if you didn't get the input, then let's postpone the vote and say no to the approval right now. And as our voice for what's on this, you need to see it. You know? Okay. So. State insect of Pennsylvania, the firefly. I'm into citizen science, and it's another posting on the Facebook page. But Mass Audubon has, like, you watch fireflies, count them, post them on the map. You know, next generation, nice in a project doing the fireflies. So we'll see if I count any better this time. Okay. Oh, you know, speakers. Free Pittsburgh would be a nice group to have. Oh, I should give you a second to look at the fireflies before I.
You know, we have an opening on the EAC, don't you, Miss Wright?
I am aware of that.
Okay.
Thank you for sharing that information. And, you know,
we're looking for bodies.
Thank you for mentioning that, though.
What's this picture I'm looking at?
It's a picture of fireflies. Looked better in color, but I went to the Allegheny National Park once because there are special fireflies in Allegheny Forest, Allegheny National Forest, that are blink and sync. They have synchronous fireflies, and they blink at the same time. So I felt a warm spot in my heart ever since then.
Yeah,
they all do that. If you sit there long enough, they will all go into sequence.
Yeah, I've wondered about that since then.
Say thunder. Well, they can do that too.
Oh,
I've seen that a number of times. It's pretty amazing.
yeah, it is amazing just to see them. do that. So yeah, so I thought I'd share that.
Make sure there's no one in between your hands and your clap.
Ellen, are you into the spotted lantern flies? Or what's the word for this season on them?
I know, and I don't follow that so much. I see so many more spotted fireflies in the city, but maybe I'm not looking here. It just, I haven't heard the word, but that would be a good thing for the Facebook page.
They're right down here every day. They meet and go out and they canvass the area.
Wow, who is it that's doing?
Guess what our May tip is going to be?
This?
The lantern flies.
You bet it is.
Yeah, no, that's.
You bet.
I haven't seen them at my house, but I know they're down.
I live right at the
Bellevue and
park, and
Bright
there's
Heights.
not a one. I mean, I shouldn't jinx myself, but
Maybe it's too early. I don't know if they're still in their egg stage or something or what. I don't know.
I have them down by at my house. They've been there for 5 years and it's too early to see them yet.
Oh,
okay.
They like the tree of heaven,
Yeah,
The
a tree of
invasive
heaven.
plant.
Okay.
which is on the agenda to be.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's got marked there.
Oh, and I did overhear your conversation about the junior EAC. Well, I couldn't overhear it. I was here for it. But maybe they could do do a reflection piece for the McMail 1 month.
Yeah.
Just so there was a purpose for them. They could even talk about the program.
Absolutely.
And then I think I'd heard that Tree Pittsburgh was involved in helping to plant 500 trees at North Park.
Yes, they are.
And maybe they would be a nice for the speaker series to have Tree Pittsburgh.
I will ask them when I see them this next week.
Okay. So I think that finishes me up for today. If any of the people on the Zoom are interested in the firefly handout and the bird migration handout, I could figure out a way to get it to you if you're interested.
I went and checked out the migration site that you talked about and posted it on that McCandless Facebook page as well as my local neighborhood pages as well. So the word is getting out.
Excellent, thank
Yeah,
you.
and I'll take your 2 sites and I'll just grab them and put them on an email to everybody. So we make sure Dawn
Okay.
gets it and
Thank
everybody
you.
gets them.
Did you still want a copy of our watersheds?
Yes.
I found that. I just didn't know how to get it to you.
Oh, that's very cool. Yeah, because especially since they're on the stormwater.
Can you give me your email?
Yeah, you know what? Let me
Okay.
give it to you. And now leave with my zoning comments. It's a no vote. People haven't had time to take a look at it. There's a lot in there. It's changing for everybody. And the EAC should have had more of a role.
I would like to say, I understand your apprehension. It's an enormous project. It's being done by professionals, and I think you will appreciate the outcome ultimately.
And I'm sure I've talked to the lead code person at those open houses, and she seems very competent, but I still think it's a case of that. And I'm using the example of the architect, even though I've never used an architect, but they write the code based on what input that they have. And so without the input from people.
I think ultimately what it does is it just simplifies things and cleans things up that were very messy and sloppy. It was a 50-year-old product, and essentially wording changes in many instances, but really commercial doesn't change, residential doesn't change. So,
Well, but those terms are no longer part of the document.
come on the 22nd and see what they present, and then we'll have a conversation. If there's something that you can convince me that's wrong, I'll address it at that time. What happens is after the 22nd, it gets voted on, and if it's approved, it gets sent down to Allegheny County. If there's something that's wrong, we can either try to address it before it's sent to the county, or we can address it when it returns, and we can So even if it's not perfect, and by no means is it going to be perfect, because I'm sure everybody on council is going to have issues that they want addressed, and then we'll individually address them. But it's very costly to delay it. Everything is costly. So
right. And I thank you so much for commenting. I of course respectfully disagree. Because of the legal issues connected with it, that once it's passed and accepted, you can't say, oh, well, we didn't look at that, we didn't think about that. And I wouldn't have done the whole document at one time. I was looking today and I saw there was an update in 2017. So I don't know what that was about, but anyway.
it's way above my pay grade.
Right. So, all right, thank you.
Thank you. Great. That's all we have, John. Oh, I guess we need to adjourn, don't we? Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I will do that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, all in
Can't
favor?
second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion. Meeting is adjourned.